Hello everyone, it is Ziggy again. Today is August 26th, 2023, and it's been very quiet weather-wise. It's just been really hot. There hasn't been a lot of rain at all. But as you could probably see up on screen now from the weather impact key messages, towards the bottom, monitoring Invest 93L, which I will get into that in a second. For those of you who don't know, an Invest is basically like the precursor to a tropical system. It's when the National Hurricane Center is watching a location for the potential development of a tropical system. But right now, odds are, here, I can probably go down here. Okay. Well, you can't see the numbers on this, but you see down here it says 60%. Well, right now, they're giving it a 40, or in the next 48 hours, they're giving it a 70% chance of forming, and in the next 7 days, a 90% chance. So, yeah, it looks like there is a tropical system coming to Florida. At the very least, a tropical depression, I think is fair to say. But there's something I actually want to bring up, because this brings up a bit of an interesting idea. I hate to say it, but is Florida about to have another devastating I-named hurricane? We had Hurricane Irma in 2017. We had Hurricane Ian in 2022. I believe it's going to be Idalia? I hope I'm saying that right. Is Idalia going to possibly be another devastating storm? We'll just have to see. Personally, looking at the conditions right now, and I'm no expert, so don't fucking listen to me, but from my own personal perspective, I don't see anything too crazy happening with it, honestly. I think it would be fair to expect maybe a Category 1 hurricane, but the main thing limiting it, even though the Gulf water is immensely warm right now, is there's going to be a lot of wind shear in its way, especially as it approaches land. And as we've seen in the past couple years with hurricanes, for some reason, it's that time, like right before landfall, they like to rapidly intensify. Maybe it has to do with, like, the way wind interacts with the land. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. But yeah, so if there's a lot of wind shear along the Florida coastline when it comes in, that could probably, I don't think it will, like, shear the storm apart, but it will probably limit its intensity. And we still have tropical storm, but soon to be Hurricane Franklin out there in the middle Atlantic. It is forecast to become a major hurricane in the next couple days, but it's mainly going to be a threat to Bermuda, and we're still watching those other two areas. Now, what I'm watching personally is you see out there towards Western Africa, where right now it says it has a lower chance of development. That's where a lot of these big September hurricanes like to come from, and we're getting close to September. So, yeah, this was unscripted, so sorry if this just sounded like kind of a ramble. I'm gonna pause and take a minute on what to think next. Alright, so I actually pulled up the National Hurricane Center website, thought that would be a good idea, and now you see in the next 48 hours, 90%. So, yep, and it even says right here, if this trend continues, advisories will be initiated on this system later today. And note, the system is expected to move very slowly northward into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. So, that's where I think there could be, like, conditions could be at a bit of odds with each other. The longer it gets to sit out over warm Gulf water, the more likely it is to intensify. But then again, you have the forecast wind shear to be pretty heavy over the northeastern Gulf as it approaches. Again, I think it will have enough fortitude where the storm just won't get, like, ripped apart. I think it was Hurricane Laura back in 2020, if I remember correctly. There was also Hurricane Marco approaching, and that was a storm that got sheared apart. Like, it just got, like, annihilated. I don't see that happening to Idalia. I think it will hold together at the very least as a tropical storm. But considering how, like, the Gulf is just free real estate right now for really hot water, Hurricane Harold Tropical Storm Harold that came through barely cooled the Gulf off at all. And we're at peak heating season, so it's got free time. It's got all of today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and probably into, like, Wednesday morning before it makes landfall. So, my personal opinion, this is actually reminding me a lot of Hurricane Hermine. I just did a video on this. Hurricane Hermine actually made landfall on September 1st, and that's going to be a Friday, but it's going to be really close. So, maybe we could see a similar situation. Again, I'm no meteorologist. I'm not going to try and sit here and convince anybody that there's going to be a major, like, Cat 4 hurricane or anything. But it's not impossible. And honestly, from after all the things I've seen in the past couple of years with hurricanes, I mean, this was even happening back in 1992, back with Hurricane Andrew, when it went from a Category 1 to a Category 5 in, like, what, less than 48 hours? Was it, or was it even less than 24? But, like, again, conditions have to be, like, probably insanely just right for that. But I think conditions are pretty right for a pretty sizable system to come through. Back over to our local forecast, I wanted to talk about what National Weather Service Jacksonville is considering the potential threats from currently Invest 93L will be. So, waves of heavy downpours expected Tuesday through Thursday, coastal flooding possible around times of high tide, isolated tornado threat Tuesday night through Wednesday night, and, of course, the magnitude of local impacts depends all on the ultimate track and intensity. So, here's an interesting thing. I don't know if I have it pulled up. I'm gonna put their note up on screen so you can read it while I talk, if you want. But somewhere in here, they pointed out that we will be on the extremely, in their words, moist northeastern quadrant of the storm, which, for some reason, I forgot the exact reason why, but basically, if the northeastern quadrant of hurricanes is the most likely part where severe weather will occur, mainly tornadoes. And again, I talked about this in the hurricane dry spell video with Hurricane Ivan. Like, I'm not expecting to see some, like, crazy monster tornado, but just 2 years ago with Hurricane Elsa, there was a pretty decent-sized F2 tornado in Camden County, and then there was an F1 tornado in Jacksonville from Tropical Storm Elsa. So, again, and you know what? It doesn't take, like, you know, some monster F5 tornado to, like, ruin your life. You know? Like, anything, any tornado is dangerous. And when you have to deal with that in the middle of a hurricane, too, like, with the wind, like, just howling constantly on top of the tornado, all the rain, like, visibility is already nothing. You're not even going to see it coming, probably, because it's, like, it's already pouring. So, tornadoes are obviously dangerous on their own, but extremely dangerous when within hurricanes. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, all we can really do is wait, and that's the worst part of these systems, is having to wait and see what happens, because, you know what, on Wednesday, it could just be a little tropical depression that just kind of crapped out in the Gulf, and we get a few sprinkles, or it could be like a Hurricane Michael level hurricane. We don't know, because the weather is very crazy, and it keeps getting crazier and crazier by the year, and I'm sure that's something we can all admit. So, I hate to keep saying it, but yeah, we're just really going to have to see what happens. So, to answer my self-imposed question earlier of, is Idalia going to be another devastating I-named hurricane? We don't know. Conditions are looking pretty decent for it to develop, and I do think it's fair to expect a either very strong tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane. I think that's pretty reasonable. With how much it's already starting to intensify just today, and it has like another 3 or 4 days before it even nears landfall or the area where the shear is going to be, it has plenty of time to start picking up steam. So, I think expecting a Category 1 hurricane is reasonable, but I don't want to say for sure, because we don't know. So I will say, keep an eye on it every day. Check into the National Hurricane Center or your local weather outlet, because I'm sure they'll be talking about it, and just make sure, because they're the people who know what they're talking about. Alright, so what do we do with this information? Well, I think anyone within the state of Florida should probably be on the lookout for this, and especially if you live along the western peninsula or the panhandle. Areas up into, like, southern Georgia, southern Alabama should probably keep an eye on it too, and because if it's a strong storm, it probably will carry at least some of that energy inland, so it's not just Florida that has to worry about it. In terms of what you need to make sure you do if you live in the area, make sure you have all of your medical records, all of your necessary medication, food, water, clothing, medical kit, weather radio. For more information, of course, contact the National Hurricane Center. I'm just thinking of stuff off the top of my head. Make sure you have spare batteries. If you can do so safely, if you notice anything during the storm, like a strong wind gust or anything, you can always contact your local National Weather Service office. But never go outside to film anything just for the sake of filming it or for trying to get a report. Your safety comes first. Alright, so to wrap this up, I will say I am a mix between anxious and excited because obviously I get to track all of this, and this will be the first time I can do like a hurricane video for this channel, so that's really cool. Like an actual like first coast storm tracking style hurricane video. That's gonna be really fun because we saw a lot of cool things during Ian. Honestly, that would have been really cool if this channel was around back during Ian, but I can do it now with another I named storm. So yeah, I don't know. I probably won't be doing like daily updates or anything. In terms of what I'm doing right now, I'm working on some more severely overlooked videos. Um, Obviously, Tuesday through Thursday, as Idalia comes in, I will be working more on recording the weather around us and seeing what happens. And yeah, so expect content this week. I don't really know exactly when or what will come first, other than this video. But yeah, we'll be around and we'll be keeping an eye on it. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. So if you have any friends that live in Florida, please share this video to them. Say, hey, I just wanted to make sure you're going to be okay. All that good stuff. Thank you for sticking with me through this very impromptu and rambly video. I am appreciating all of the support I'm getting. We're getting very close to 100 subscribers on this channel. Can't wait to grow and can't wait to get to experience this with more people and overall just get to hear more about other people's experiences with the weather and also share my knowledge and passion about the weather with other people. So, thank you for listening. We'll be keeping an eye on Idalia. More content will be coming soon. Please stay safe, and I hope you have a good day.